Hey everybody, welcome back to FSi DFS. I'm McKinley412. Today we're looking at this monster 13-game slate, one of the bigger slates of the year so far, and it is all over the place. All over the place. It's pretty tough to lock down on some things, but I do think, we got a good handle on where things are going to be shaking out. So let's just kind of dive right into the pitchers here. Strider and Cole, both over 12K. These are the first 12K pitchers that we've seen in Classics so far this season. I'm going to take Strider over Cole, especially given the matchups. Strider gets Toronto. It's a tough matchup. It's not easy by any means, but I still think in terms of like cash builds and everything, you're still going to be putting in Strider as your SP1, even at that price tag, just because there is a cheap value team on the slate. Hint, it's San Francisco. And then Garrett Cole going up against Tampa Bay. I think that's just too tough. I'm not going to say fade him, but he's pretty far down on my list in terms of these top tier pitchers. Going up against Tampa Bay, the best offense in baseball right now, and far and away the best offense in baseball against right-handed pitching when you look at all the metrics and everything. So Cole can have a great game. Certainly can happen, but I don't think I'm going to be paying that much for him on this slate. So let's just kind of look at this sheet here. This is where things were kind of shaking out. I'm going to put a disclaimer out right now. It's a massive slate. I have not done all the research that I want to do, but I do want to get these videos out to you, and I have to get to my job. So this is kind of where things were looking at initial look. Strider, going to be my favorite play in pitching play on the slate for sure. Sonny Gray. After that, you got the Gray, Burns, Smiley, and how do you want to shake them out? Burns, we know what he's done in years past, but he's struggled a little bit so far this season. Gets a nice matchup going up against Kansas City, and he's 3,000 cheaper than a guy like Strider, even 800 cheaper than a guy like Sonny Gray. Gray, though, he's also got a nice matchup. Chicago, pretty up and down so far this season, but I do think that I like Sonny Gray a little bit better just because of what his numbers are looking like this season as well. We are a handful plus starts into the season for a lot of these starting pitchers now, so we can start taking away a little bit more of the 2022 data, looking a little bit more at the 2023 data. And Gray's just far and above better than Burns and Smiley have been so far this season. So I do have him ranked above those two guys. Are any of these guys a fade? No, I think that they're all solid pitchers. I really like Burns, even though he has struggled so far this season. I do like that price tag for him just because of what his upside can bring. Looking into the mid-tier, JP France going up against the White Sox. Check the weather on this game. It looks like there could be some rain issues. But France at 7.6K. He's a decent discount from a guy like Dustin May up at 8.5K. I think just given the matchup going up against the White Sox, it's going to be, pitching weather with some, on and off rain showers, wind blowing in. It's going to be cooler temperatures. So I do think that JP France is probably my favorite mid-tier guy, especially a guy below 9K. He's going to be my favorite guy. But again, pay attention to the weather. I'm kind of rambling at this point. Gore and Perez, I could see Perez being pretty popular going up against Oakland, especially in Oakland with those like big foul ball territories. Maybe you get one or two easy outs in that regard. But Oakland, honestly, when you're looking at the numbers, they're WRC plus, so like where like all their metrics combined kind of rack up against the pitch hand. They're above average in terms of the league batting. So I do think that Perez could be popular in terms of ownership. It's just kind of a guess just based on how ownerships have gone against these Oakland bats. But Oakland's cheap. They, again, have hit the ball very well above average against that pitch hand. So, and I don't think I'm as high on Perez. I'd still rather go France, but he's still a solid option. Still a solid option going against Oakland. Gore, he's more for the strikeout upside. Allen, same thing. He's also for the strikeout upside. The issue with Allen is that he allows a lot of hard contact. A lot of hard contact. He can get tossed around quite a bit, but he's got great strikeout rate. It's kind of like a Snell, kind of like, the pitchers that we've talked in the past, like Heaney. Like the strikeouts are there, but they can allow a lot of hard contact and get absolutely blown up in terms of things. So I really don't really love this mid-tier overall, but I'll still take France over all of them. Into the cheap tier, Anderson is kind of, I don't want to say the only pitcher that I have interest in. Waldichuk's kind of there. Taylor's got solid strikeout upside, but he hasn't done too great in his bullpen stints. I also don't know how far into the game he's going to go. I think this is his first starting pitching game here. But going up against Milwaukee at min price for a starting pitcher, any pitcher at min price, I think I'm going to have some interest on, especially if we can say that he's going to go like 4 or 5 innings. You got to have some interest. It's not like they're a pitching opener like a guy like Kelly's going to be. So Taylor is kind of there. But yeah, Anderson for the Angels. He's probably going to be my quote-unquote favorite guy going up against Cleveland. 1.64 whip, 5 ERA. It's not great. But against 5.5K, going up against Cleveland. Cleveland, we've talked about it in videos in the past. They're not like a blow you out, bomb home runs after home runs. No, they're a small ball team. They're going to be trying to hit singles, doubles, and then running the base paths from there. So I do think that Tyler Anderson could be probably my favorite cheap pitching option down here. Everybody else, not really too interested in. Bradish, Kopech, they're kind of there. It's more so like I ran out of room in the fade and the no interest category. But yeah, so let's turn towards the bats. It's going to be pretty quick here. St. Louis is going to be my favorite, higher dollar stack. I do think that they're right there with San Francisco, in that San Francisco is a very affordable, very cheap team. The issue with them is that you do have to be paying attention to, are they going to get pinch hit or not? But you could just look at how affordable these guys are, especially outside of Estrada and Peterson. So I do like them. Wade Jr. is probably going to be one of my favorite plays just because, his price tag, he's super cheap. The only issue is that he's first base eligible, and there's just so many first basemen who are great plays, especially on a 13-game slate. Do you want to be paying that there? But Slater, even Schmidt, Casey Schmidt, he only got called up a couple of games ago. Yeah, only 3 games ago, but he's been hitting very, very well. Bat's pretty far down in the lineup, but we'll have to see. But still, 2.7K for a guy who has done very well to start the season. Can't argue with that. But this is where your value is going to be coming in. If you're going to be jamming in a guy like Strider and even like an SP2 that's expensive, say like a Sonny Gray, or even like Corbin Burns, San Francisco is where you're going to find your value in terms of that. On the other side of that game, I do like Arizona as well. I think I do have them ranked as like the second favorite cheap team, just because they're also cheap. Well, maybe not as cheap as I thought they were, but only 3 guys over 4.8K. Everybody else, fairly affordable. But back to favorite stack on the slate, it's going to be St. Louis. I love both sides of this game. Going up against Paxton. Paxton has struggled mightily to start his rehabs to start the season or whatever. You can look at it down here. 6 ERA, 21 innings. Not great. It's more or so 16 walks in 21 innings. So even if he does get those strikeouts, man, he's going to be walking a lot of guys. The ERA is not there. On the other side of things, Wainwright, he struggled mightily as well in his rehab starts throughout the season. You can see he also had a 6 ERA and a 154 whip in 3 rehab starts, and it didn't go much better in his start against Detroit. So I do love both sides of this game. They are a bit more expensive, as you can see, but a guy like Goldschmidt, he's probably going to hit a home run today. Maybe he'll be my home run call on the slate. 5.7K, very expensive, especially if you're trying to jam in guys like Strider and Cole together like that. So, but St. Louis, Boston going to be my favorite two. Affordable options on the slate. I do like Philly. Vegas loves Philly. It's Coors Field. It's a Coors Field slate. But these Philly prices are absolutely out of control. 5 guys at 5.2K or above. Stott is right there at 5K. Marsh. 8 out of their 9 batters are going to be 5K or above, essentially, on this slate. So do I think they're going to hit a lot, score a lot of runs? Absolutely. Everybody expects that, especially going up against Gomber in Coors Field. But just price-wise, they're just so expensive. I do think that St. Louis and Boston can provide some nice value for you there. Baltimore, I do like them going up against Oviedo, who had a great start to the season, but, the past couple of starts has been an absolute disaster for him. This is also the opening game of the series, and opening games of the series, Baltimore, I think last checked, it was 10-0. I don't know. I can't remember what they did in their last series. but they're undefeated. They just somehow do very well with it. I know it's kind of like a fluke stat, but it's something that you can monitor as you go through. But this is kind of where the street's at. I mean, LA, the Angels specifically, I think they're one of my favorite GPP plays. Going up against Allen, like I said, Allen has strikeout upside, but he gets hit hard a lot of times. So I do think that the Angels, they are an affordable team, and they do have a lot of those great right-handed bats, guys like Trout, Renfroe, Drury, Ward, Rendon, all the way down, and very affordable too. Like you can jam double pitching stud, get a good stack of the Angels at very low ownership, I'm sure, and beyond with it there. So it's gonna change. Like this sheet's gonna change as we move throughout the day as I get more research in. But it's just kind of where the initial look is. I wanted to get the video out to you and kind of where things stood with me. So thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it. Hope everybody has a wonderful day, a wonderful Friday. We made it. The weekend's here, so enjoy some DFS, enjoy some baseball, or whatever you have planned for this weekend, and we'll see you in the next video.